afternoon and welcome to Across the Fence. I'm Jolie Whitney. To put a bow on 2023, we're looking back and highlighting some of our favorite programs and memories from the past year. Joining me today is Ben Willis. Thank you for being with me today.
Thanks for having me.
This is your first full year on Across the Fence. Tell me what you've enjoyed doing this year.
Yeah, it's been an incredible first year. I really am loving this job. I get to learn something new every single week. As an example, recently I got to learn how to taste off flavors in maple syrup with legendary maple expert Henry Marcus and UVM maple specialist Mark Isselhart.
When it comes to years honing their taste buds, few have more experience than Henry Marcus.
It's interesting to do, and it's hard to explain, but almost each sample has a little tone to it that is different. It's a good idea to smell it first. Sometimes that can save your stomach a lot of issues. Look at it, smell it, try it, taste it. See if there's any odd flavors or if it is typical for the grade. And this is golden, so you want a light, delicate flavor with this.
When the maple syrup doesn't taste quite right, the judges call that an off flavor.
I think it's got like a Tootsie Roll flavor, so that's usually like an off flavor, yeah.
Not great.
Yeah, I would reject that one.
While some off flavors are caused by Mother Nature, others are the responsibility of the sugar maker. So the judge's assessment can help sugar makers further perfect their technique.
There are many things that can cause an off flavor in syrup. Sometimes if it's a backyard sugar maker and they're doing it over an open fire, it gets a smoky flavor. Sometimes they use too much defoamer, which is like a vegetable fat to keep the foam down so it doesn't come over the evaporator. And you can tell that when you taste it, it coats the roof of your mouth, kind of like a wax, and it has this fatty taste to it.
I finally had my chance to be a maple judge when Henry invited me to try one of the off flavors to see if I could detect the subtle variation in taste.
Okay.
Now, smell it first and then taste it.
So maybe.
It's a good lesson in life too. Always smell before you taste.
Okay, and then try.
You may love it.
I know you're having me try this because I'm supposed to notice something about it, but it just tastes delicious to me. So what is it?
That's musty, moldy.
Can we drink moldy syrup?
Yeah.
All right.
You weren't going nowhere tonight, were you?
Mark Isselhart has created an off-flavor test kit to help sugar makers develop a common vocabulary to better name defects and share information.
So we have one for Buddy, we have one for Sour, there's a few others, and it's meant to give producers something to taste and say, well, we call that flavor off late season, and we call it, well, that's Buddy, or that one tastes like wood. It's trying to get to a standard set of language about what these things are so they can avoid mistakes in the future.
Mark allowed me to try a few samples from his off-flavor test kit. It tastes like a Tootsie Roll. That I got. Got sour sap here. All I can say is the flavors were distinctive. Ooh. Oh. As I leave, the judges still have many more bottles to taste, but I head out with thoughts of furthering my studies over a stack of waffles drenched in 100% pure Vermont maple syrup. In St. Albans, I'm Ben Willis with Across the Fence.
Wow, I'm jealous. So is there more maple judging in your future?
I don't know if I'm ready quite yet. I was totally surprised by how many different flavors there are when you're tasting maple syrup. These guys have incredible palates. They're very talented, but maybe they'll give me another shot at it next year.
All right, so you know a lot about maple judging now. What else have you learned this year?
Yeah, so one of my most memorable shoots was joining 4-H turkey caller Colby Butler at the Oxbow 4-H Shooting Sports Annual Turkey Call Competition, where I tried my hand at turkey calling.
These are going to be your mouth calls. These are your pot calls, and then these are your box calls.
Can you show me how to use one of these? Can I try one out?
Yeah, absolutely. You can use that one while I use this.
All right, so what do you do?
Main points are these are actually designed to hold it here so you're not muffling the vibration up here. So I just hold it here, hold it flat, and all you really do is just move it across. Look at that. And if you want to clock, you just kind of flick it.
Okay.
Yep.
Right, so there's different types of calls.
Yes, many different types of calls.
So this is so what's this? That's nothing.
That's an attempt to a yelp.
Attempt at a yelp, and then you're saying that's
a clock. Yep. There is like yelp, but then within yelp, there's plain yelp, excited yelp, assembly yelp, adult hen assembly yelp, and then there's purring, and there's cluck and purr, just a purr, fighting purr, and then you have clock, or you can do cutting, which is like just excited. When the hen's real excited, she's kind of going crazy. Then you have a fly down cackle, there's tree calling, Jake yelp, Kiki run. There's quite a few of them.
wow.
Wow, so first maple judging and now turkey calling. Did you join Across the Fence to build your resume?
Oh yeah, absolutely. With turkey calling, I haven't quite graduated past the simple box call yet, but I'm thinking I might have to bring my nephew Reese, who's a big fan of the show. Hi Reese. I might bring him down to the Oxbow competition next year, get him into turkey calling. I think my sister would love having him roaming around the house, practicing his turkey call, so I'm really looking forward to that.
So what other 4-H events do you think you could get your nephew hooked on? I'm sure your sister would love it.
Definitely working steer competitions. I had never been to one before, and I had my chance this summer. It turned out to be very cool, and one of the competitors, Lily LaRoque, and her parents invited me to come and visit her working with her steer team on the family farm.
Come on.
From bottle feeding and training to winning ribbons in competition, it's clear that Lily has built a strong bond with Fall and Leaf.
Yep.
But all things come to an end, and Lily's team is growing up fast.
So basically, this is my first 4-H team. And for me to get better, I just get another team, which these guys are getting big too. They're not exactly, which I have my next team, I'm gonna work on things more like pulling. I'm gonna work on more with them, or with my next team, but
What happens to these two?
I'm hoping to sell them because Dad said they'll be like a good logging team or like a good ton team if they get pulling. But they're still good for things too. But then if not, beef them. It'll be hard, but also then I get little babies that are knee high, and then like I'll always have these guys in my memory. And then get a new little team and start all over again. Good boys. Come on. Good boy. Yep. Leaf. Wait a minute. You're all right.
Lily has one piece of advice for anyone looking to train working steer.
If you get a team, get them young. Get them young, because then you have that whole relationship with them.
Training working steer is no easy task, and perhaps as bovine and human train together, it's not just the steer that grow up fast. In Randolph Center, I'm Ben Willis with Across the Fence.
So it's been a whole year, but do you remember your first piece that you've done on Across the Fence?
Yeah, so that was Martin Luther King Day, January 16th, 2023.
And what did you come up with for that story?
So this was a really cool one. It was about equity in outdoor activities. You might take for granted the fact that you know where the best spots to hike, or even something as simple as transportation, or the confidence to go out and try a new outdoor activity. Many people don't even know where or how to start. Then there's the price for gear or other expenses like ski passes. So I made this piece on the challenge of creating more equity in outdoor recreation.
I'm at the University of Vermont to speak with Marie Vea, an assistant dean at UVM's Rubenstein School of Environment and Natural Resources. Marie has a passion for the outdoors and social justice issues.
There's a culture around, particularly in Vermont, there's a culture around downhill skiing, there's a culture around biking that is manifested through the gear, through the language, through how to just get yourself to the mountain, and then all of the literal gates that you have to pass through to actually get yourself there. You'll hear a lot about affordability of gear, and gear now is so technical that that's a factor where I'm not going to go outside unless I have like the best jacket or like waterproof Gore-Tex boots. So I think that's kind of an obstacle. There are things that I find that my students take for granted because their families have always come to Vermont. You know, they've got a second home, or it was very natural to come to a ski mountain. So they already know these things, but if you did not grow up with that kind of background, it's just not part of your experience or knowledge.
Over the past few years, there has been increased recognition that these barriers have an outsized impact on people of color. Recently, Vermont companies Burton, Skida, and J. Peak signed onto a diversity pledge created by a group called the In Solidarity Project,
where they promised to engage in campaigns to increase access to outdoor recreation. Teresa Baker is one of the organization's co-founders.
I would go to Yosemite literally every month.
So Teresa, what inspired you to address this lack of diversity in our outdoor spaces and the outdoor industry?
I would just hop on Amtrak and go to Yosemite, not really paying much mind to anything other than being in Yosemite. So on one particular trip, for whatever reason, I started looking around and I didn't notice anyone that looked like me. Because I was in Yosemite for an entire week and didn't see one other Black person. I reached out to the National Park Service and I said, hey, you guys have an issue with visitation as it relates to people of color. And they said, we know, help us fix it. And that began my journey around trying to bring more attention to the problem around lack of diversity in our national parks. And eventually it expanded to the outdoor industry at large. And that's what started the In Solidarity Project.
Well, Ben, it's been quite a year. What comes next?
Well, I have no idea what comes next, and that's what makes this job so exciting. So who knows what next year might hold, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for joining me, Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone here at WCAX who makes Across the Fence happen every Monday through Friday. I'm Jolie Whitney. Have a good one.